are now tuned in to my main man Dubs. If you want that garbage, go somewhere else. If you want that music that matters, he came to the right spot.
What up, kid?
Hey Dub, talk to him.
This is not for the retarded. Ever since the beat started, the flow switched up from...
What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Lennox Lewis. Get this, Lennox Lewis is eyeing a comeback. He says that he's seen Mike Tyson, what Mike Tyson can do. He's been involved in all types of things, from acting. He has his own show. He himself, once upon a time, was with HBO, thinking that he could get that desire to fight again. It just never happened. However, that's why a lot of fighters come back to the ring, Lennox Lewis says, because they have nothing to do. And he wanted to sway away from that because they looked bad coming back into the sport. But he says, if the timing is right, I would gladly come back to the sport. And I have unfinished business with Riddick Bowe. Wow. The trend continues, people. It continues. Mike Tyson to Evander Holyfield to James Toney to Oscar De La Hoya. Look, it keeps growing. It's going to keep going. People, I think it's going to be a league or a platform that enable older fighters to fight each other. If you notice, Lennox Lewis said, I have unfinished business with Riddick Bowe. He didn't say anything else. He already said that he still feels like he's the undisputed champion of the world. So I think if he wants to do that, he could do that. And, and if someone's going to back Lennox Lewis to come back to the sport and fight someone, I guess that would be incentive for him to do so. However, I think Lennox Lewis, that what he did in his career was very, very impressive. He was one of British best boxers, if not the best boxer that the UK's produced. And the things that he done, he's been, he's avenged both of his losses, the 2 losses that he has. He was the undisputed champion of the world. Well, should I say the lineal champion, should I say. And he was that guy, okay, for a short stint. But as he retired, he was soon forgotten. Okay, as far as talking wise, okay, the only time that we really seen Lennox Lewis, he was on HBO, and lately he's been on PBC commentating and really hasn't had an impactful, what's the word? He hasn't really made a splash over there, okay? Lennox Lewis talks about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is the reason, really, why Lennox Lewis is considering that. That's why he would consider a fight with Riddick Bowe, simply because Riddick Bowe is a guy that he never fought, just like Roy Jones was a guy that Mike Tyson never fought. It just made sense. But Lennox Lewis wasn't as popular. It will never be as popular as Mike Tyson. I'm sorry, it won't happen. Lennox Lewis is known for the things that he's done, but Mike will always be Mike. You know what I'm saying? It's just different popularity levels between the two. Now, would I see to watch Lennox Lewis? Does he still have it? I have no idea, but I would watch him, of course. But fighting someone like Riddick Bowe, if anybody's seen Riddick Bowe lately, okay, that's another thing I want to talk about. Sure, you want to fight Riddick Bowe, but Riddick Bowe ain't the kind of guy that had the same type of comfortable and positive and healthy lifestyle as someone like Vladimir Klitschko. Okay, Vladimir is the guy that you'd want to do that with. Vlad, someone like that, someone that is seasoned, someone that is retired, that's been out of the ring a while, someone that is well known, more known as fact as Riddick Bowe. I'm not saying Riddick Bowe didn't have his heyday. No disrespect to Riddick Bowe. But what I'm saying, Riddick Bowe is not in good shape. He's overweight. He was hanging out with Evander Holyfield for a while to try to get, back into shape or whatnot. But I don't think that would be much of a contest, because despite Lennox Lewis is a big guy, but Lennox Lewis carries his weight very well. He's always been a big guy since he started growing into his body. from that mid 30s to late 30s body type that he has. He's a big husky guy. He's a big guy naturally. Naturally he is. Riddick Bowe is a guy that just gained weight over time and never really took care of himself. And I'm not sure, but I think that Riddick Bowe has some health problems, if I can remember properly. So, him coming back to the sport to fight a guy that's not even in fighting shape, that's not even capable of having such a fight or an exhibition or whatever, I don't think it would be worth warrant to host that fight or desire for that fight. Again, if Lennox Lewis is going to come back, he should pick a better opponent than Riddick Bowe. Okay, because you know what I'm saying? Riddick Bowe was the man back in the day. Some things happen or are supposed to happen at certain times, and that you have that particular frame of time that could happen in that window, but it doesn't. It didn't, and if it didn't, it won't. But that's okay. You know what I mean? It's almost like you really had the hots for somebody back in the day, and they were so fine back then. Then you see them now, in current day. Now they're all fat and nasty looking, out of shape. Looks nothing of the resemblance that they looked like before. Therefore, the appeal is gone. That should tell you that time has passed. And I think this time has passed for the opportunity for Lennox Lewis to fight Riddick Bowe. Unless Riddick Bowe comes back and shows us something that can even out. And we don't even know what type of shape Lennox Lewis is in. He might be sitting back and, chilling with some ganja in Jamaica somewhere. We don't know. You know what I mean? Again, he doesn't look terribly out of shape, but I mean, when the last time have you seen Lennox Lewis spar? Or hit the pads or anything? I haven't seen it. The only time I've seen Lennox Lewis throw a punch lately, and that wasn't really lately, is when he was showing Deontay Wilder how to throw a jab outside of an apartment complex. If you guys can remember that. So, it sounds good. It just shows you the influence that Mike Tyson has over the boxing community overall, especially the retired boxing community, and how he motivates them. He's the pioneer, if it shows anything. But you guys tell me what you think of Lennox Lewis wanting to come back to the sport of boxing to take on Riddick Bowe for unfinished business. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.